Well, hello there folks, and welcome back to the channel. Grocery prices are certainly not cheap in Australia at the moment where I live, and I follow a lot of channels in the US who do these sort of budget grocery challenges, and I can't help but feel that the budget that they allocate on the dollar is obviously the US dollar. And for a lot of us who live here in Australia, New Zealand, Canada and other places, food prices and the dollar exchange rate is actually very different. So for a lot of my viewers from the US, they see my channel and go, oh my gosh, that's so much money you spend on groceries. It is quite different here in Australia. And that's why I wanted to do one of these videos. A little while ago, I did a feeding one person for 1 week on a budget, and I ate for $7 a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks, and really enjoyed it. So the 2-part series of that is linked below if you'd like to check it out. Now, many of you viewers really liked that feeding one person video, but you've also asked me to do a similar thing for 2 people. So in this video, I'm gonna set up the challenge to do the same thing for my husband and I. I'm gonna give you totally different recipe ideas. This meal plan is going to be 100% gluten-free because he is GF, I am not, but I'm lazy and I don't cook separate things for him and me. So I'm just gonna eat gluten-free as well, which is pretty much what I do 90% of the time anyway. So let's set up some really simple principles for this challenge, and then I'm gonna head to the grocery store. Similar to last time around, I have 3 super simple principles that pretty much guide my meal planning and meal prepping all the time anyway. 1, I want this to be really accessible and easy to do for anyone out there. So you are not gonna need any special gadgets. You'll need a stove, you'll need an oven, but all these things that you can do regardless what kind of tools that you have available in your house. Secondly, I want it to be budget friendly. This is not an extreme budget grocery haul. You can eat cheaper than what I'm suggesting here, but what I'm giving you is a realistic budget friendly meal plan. And this is all stuff that my husband and I will happily eat most of the time anyway. It just happens to be very clean ingredients and very budget friendly. Which leads me to point 3, which is I want it to be healthy. I know it's easy to lean on processed foods and looking for budgets, budget friendly options in the stores, but I prefer to cook most things from scratch. I'll make a few little exceptions in this meal plan by including, for example, pasta, but a lot of things I will just simply get clean ingredients and create dishes from scratch with really simple ingredients. So how do I go about setting up a challenge like this? Well, in my case, the inspiration for this video came from one item that I found in my local little tiny supermarket where I live. It's normally not a cheap store, it's called IGA. And many of you, if you live in Australia, know what IGA is. It's basically a small local grocery store. But I found a really decent sized ham for $12 on special, and I thought, I can do a lot of things with this ham. And then it prompted me to set up the rule that for everything else I had to go to ALDI, but I will be incorporating this one large ham in the grocery haul and the plan for this week. Next up, I need to work out how many meals that I need. So my husband and I are not big breakfast eaters. We'll normally have black coffee in the morning and do intermittent fasting. If you don't know what intermittent fasting is, you can Google it, but it's basically eating in a condensed window. And if you are a woman of any age who are going to do intermittent fasting, I can highly recommend the book Fast Like a Girl. I will link that below. I'm not affiliated or sponsored in any way, but it's a book that really helped me get my head around how fasting works for women and for our hormones. But that aside, my husband and I do intermittent fasting, so we have black coffee or black tea in the morning, and then we usually have our first meal at lunchtime, and then our eating window is from 12 in the day till 8 in the evening. So essentially for this challenge, all I'm gonna do is prepare lunch, dinners and snacks. So I will need 14 portions of lunch, I will need 14 portions of dinner, and then I will need some snack options. So that is the meal plan that works for us. Obviously, if you need to meal plan or make a plan for breakfasts and other things, that is something that you can quite easily do. But as you would have seen in my previous one when I did this, you can do oatmeal, you could do overnight oats, you could do cereal, you could do eggs on toast. There's a lot of budget-friendly options that you can do for breakfast if that's something you want to include. One other thing about this challenge is that I'm only gonna have the same thing twice, meaning that we're not repeating and doing a giant batch of soup or a giant batch of something that's gonna last us for the whole week. If you are on a mega tight food budget, that's obviously something you can absolutely do to save a lot of money, or you can do a big batch of soup and you can have a few portions and freeze the rest. But for this particular challenge for the 7 days, I'm only cooking the same thing maximum 2 times to make it a little bit more interesting and have a little bit more variety. So before I head to the store, I have a high level meal plan, meaning I have some ideas of ingredients that work together and that I can mix and match with other things. And I know that they're quite budget friendly. I'm gonna be getting all of these items, obviously except for the ham that I mentioned, at ALDI. So we're heading to ALDI and we're gonna pick up items to make this meal plan happen. And in the next video, I'm going to show you what that all turned out to be. I will also let you know after I show you the grocery haul what it all came to, so make sure you stay tuned. Now let's get shopping. So here are all the groceries that I picked up from ALDI, aside from one item that I actually picked up at my local supermarket, but I'll show you that in just a second. But here is what we are working with for this budget challenge for 2 people. So I'll start over here with some of the vegetables. So we've got some mushrooms here, we've got about 2 kilos of potatoes, we've got some gluten-free pasta, we've got a head of iceberg lettuce, a bag of carrots, that's a 1 kilo bag, a green capsicum, and a ginormous yellow onion, brown onion, sorry. Over here we've got the things I'm going to be using for snacks. So we've got some mandarins and some red apples. These were the best deals at ALDI when I went shopping. We're going to do some corn thins with peanut butter for snacks. If you watch my last budget grocery haul for 1 person, I did a lot of popcorn. So I still have popcorn in the house, but for this challenge we're going to be using this. We've got some corn, we've got 2 diced tomatoes, a small block of cheese. I will show here on the screen the much better value per 100 grams you get if you buy a kilo rather than 250 grams. We've also got some sliced beetroot that we're going to be using in a few recipes, and full cream long life milk. I'm going to be using this to make a couple of sauces. In terms of vegetables, I also have some frozen veg. So I've got these really great value frozen spinach and the frozen green beans. And in terms of protein, this is the main proteins we're working with. So I've got some beef mince. We've got a large can of tuna. This is cheaper at Coles or Woolworths if you were to go there, but I just wanted to hit up one store, and mostly all of this, like I said, is from ALDI. I've got a count of 12 eggs, although I've already started filming one recipe, so there's 9 left here, but I'm working with 12 eggs for the week. Yeah, we've got a tuna there. I've got a whole chicken here, so this is about 1.5 kilos of a whole chicken, so we're going to be cooking that up. And I found this, which inspired this whole meal challenge. So I got this for $12 at my local supermarket. So I have some plans for what we can do with this ham. But essentially that is all that we're going to be using. I also have 1 loaf of gluten-free bread, which I've already popped in the freezer. So this whole meal plan is going to be gluten-free, and I'm going to feed 2 adults for a whole week. So let's see what I can make. And here is a little sneak peek of the menu for the week. As you know, I may very well end up changing this ever so slightly in the next video, depending what we feel like on the day. But with these basic, and most of these ingredients are naturally gluten-free, some of them are obviously substitutes, but I'm hoping that this will be a really nice balanced meal plan for my husband and I. The total for that entire haul was, and let me refer to my notes here, $84.15. Like I said, aside from that 1 ham, all this came from ALDI in Australia, and I bought gluten-free bread and gluten-free pasta. So I did do a quick compare. I forgot to take photos in ALDI what they charge for normal bread and normal pasta as of right now, but I assumed that you could get a bread loaf that is non-gluten free for about $2.50, and that you can get a packet of pasta for 500-gram packet of pasta for about $1, which tends to be the case for spaghetti and other things at Coles and Woolworths as well. So the difference if you were to do this budget meal challenge, gluten-free versus not gluten-free, is only a $4 difference. Now that's obviously because I've picked ingredients that are naturally gluten-free, things like potatoes and other things. But when you're doing bread and pasta especially, you do have to add a little bit extra on your budget. But I think $4 difference from ALDI Australia as of November 2024, it's not too bad a difference for gluten-free instead. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up so that you don't miss part 2, which is coming out next week. And you might be wondering what the $84 actually works out to. Well, it's only $6 per person per day for a pretty substantial menu. Even if we don't eat breakfast, we've got the snacks, the lunches and dinners. So I'm really excited to try this. I'm excited to get my husband's verdict on this challenge, and I look forward to see you in the next video.